And we want to welcome everybody to another edition of Hoops Hitting Gems podcast, brought to you on the Love of the Game Network. I'm your host, David Jones, along with the fabulous Madre Allen as usual. We got a great show, and tonight is the GCAC recap. And so for a lot of people that don't know, we wanted to bring you all on this show to give the GCAC its proper due. It's one of the HBCU NAI conferences that some people that don't know about it, you're going to learn about it tonight. And we have the pleasure of having the commissioner of the GCAC conference, Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes. How you doing tonight?
Hey, David and Andre. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, anytime. It's our pleasure. You know, after what we experienced at Tuscaloosa and the show you put on for the conference, we've been talking about it for the past 8 days. Well, we got back last Monday, and we've been talking about it still. And I just want to congratulate you. You did an awesome job. And, you said something backstage that hit me. You said, yes, it's an NAI conference, but it shouldn't matter the level of the type of performance and the type of tournaments you put on, and you guys knocked it out of the park. The hospitality was great. Stillman, and shout out to Stillman. Stillman did an awesome job. Yeah, yes, indeed. They did a great job as well. The city of Tuscaloosa did a great job. Visit Tuscaloosa. It was just a perfect marriage, I should say, for what you guys did.
Yeah, it felt really good. And I want to echo your sentiments in thanking our partners. You can't do good work without great people. You all were a part of that. So our broadcast was on 1,000. My dad watched every game, loved it. We got great feedback. They really enjoyed how knowledgeable you were about the HBCU space. It was top quality. And that's what we are aiming to do. We want to be at our highest level and have a quality experience for all of those who are involved. So shout out to Visit Tuscaloosa and to Stillman College for being fantastic partners. And of course, I can't leave out my title sponsor, Hope Credit Union,
Yes.
who has really helped us to be able to level up. We had a VIP reception on Tuesday. It's the first time, the president's VIP reception that Hope sponsored. It's the first time we've ever had that kind of event as a part of our basketball championship. And when I tell you, it was all the way live, branded pillows, a DJ, lamb chops, salmon. It's expensive fish. Drink. Even though I don't drink much, I was like, this is what it's supposed to be. If we wanted to kick it off, so, business community leaders, people who had been working with us were invited, ADs, the president's Hope team. And it was a great opportunity to kind of set the stage for the week and the expectations. So we're really grateful to our partners.
Just to piggyback on what David was saying, we've been to a lot of basketball tournaments, a lot of basketball games. We've been fortunate enough to call quite a few of them.
Yeah.
And the feeling, the energy was in the gym from setup to breakdown. Like you could feel it. The students were really involved and engaged. You guys had the bands in there. The cheerleaders were in there. Like it was I believe I said it on the broadcast, for just a pure basketball fan, it is a must-attend event. If you can get over to Tuscaloosa, it is one of those places where it's like, man, just sit in the gym and stay all day. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
So You guys put on a you know, the media coverage. That it's one thing that people often overlook in events like this. And not only did you guys have every game streamed, there were some conference tournaments that I attempted to watch from home that put their event behind a paywall.
Yes.
But you want people to watch and promote your league and promote your players, but you put all the games behind the paywall. People could go to HBCU Plus, could watch every single basketball game. And if you attended in person, it was even better,
right?
But I saw people running around with cameras taking photos. I saw videographers in the building. Those players and coaches got the absolute best platform that I feel like could be provided, and a lot better than a lot of other leagues provide. I gotta say that. So absolutely.
Well, and shout out to Marcus. So we got to give Marcus and Lisa their props, who have been doing all of our broadcasts for every championship. They just don't miss. They don't miss is all I can say. And you know, bringing you all on as our color commentator and play-by-play, and again, like I said, they haven't missed. We've been doing this for almost a year and a half now. We're almost through our second set of championships, and each time I just feel like it's better and better with their team as well. So again, kudos to also their team as well.
I couldn't agree. Marcus and Lisa are definitely top quality, you know, to go along with HBCU Plus. You know, I can't leave out Vic. Vic knocked it out the park as well. So, you know, I thought that was a good look all the way around. I think you're right on cue with that. You know, as we jump into this, one of the biggest things we wanted to talk about, there's a rebrand coming for the GCAC, and we wanted to talk about that. Can you tell us a little bit more about the rebrand?
Yeah, well, I'm having a lot of fun. Let me just tell y'all that, talking about the rebrand.
Okay.
You know, I've been in leadership in the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference since 2010 in some form or fashion. In 2010, I was voted as or selected by my peers to be the president. In that same meeting, 5 schools submitted their letters telling us that they were leaving the conference, which left us with 5. By the time we got to the spring semester, the 6th school had submitted their letter, and we were down to 4 members. Those 4 members happened to be the 4 HBCUs who were a member of this conference at that time. It was Dillard University, SUNO, Tougaloo, and Xavier. And so we were in a very precarious situation. You know, we were at a point, it was right after Hurricane Katrina. We were still recovering. And honestly, it looked like at that time that the conference might not make it. In the NAIA, in terms of governance structure, you have to have 6 schools that are members in order to be considered a conference. And so if I'm correct, we wound up having to do an exception, and I got to go back and make sure, but I think we had to even get some exceptions while we were looking to recruit members for us to still operate as a conference while we were trying to figure it out. Like, give us a little wiggle room. Don't cancel us out too fast. And so we were able to recruit some other HBCUs to join us. So, and I think Philander, Fisk, Voorhees, and Edward Waters were those 4 schools that wound up joining us and got us to like 7 schools. And at that time, we were trying to do this East-West thing, you know, but with 7 teams.
It's tough.
Yeah. So that thing, it didn't work the way we wanted it. You know, I think Voorhees wound up leaving because we abandoned the East-West model for the home and home for scheduling purposes. We eventually brought in Talladega joined us. I'm trying to figure out who else. We got Rust at some point. They moved from D3 to join us. And so since 2010, the GCAC has operated as a group of HBCUs. Okay. And I'm saying that because we were a conference and it was just a group of HBCUs all competing. but there was no connection necessarily to us being an HBCU conference. We never aligned with that at that time. We're the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. And it'd be like, okay, what's the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference? And then I kind of list the members, and then I have to tell people, well, we didn't start off with HBCUs. It was just schools in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. But now we got schools. And as we've continued to grow, once I became, so I think I was president from 2010 to 2018. In 2019, I became a part of the NAIA's Athletic Director Association, the National Association. I was in line to be president. So I had to stop being the conference president so I could go be the national president for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
And in 2019, our commissioner took another opportunity, got another job at another conference. And so the president said, hey, can we just have you serve in the interim and while we figure out what we're going to do? And in that time, we were still pondering this question of, well, who are we and where do we want to be? And even during that process, we lost some more members. And we were back at 2010 again, trying to figure out, okay, are we going to make it or not? So I wound up having to stay in that role for 3 years because we had schools decide that they were going to leave again. Then COVID happened and everything stopped. And so there was just this pause. And so what turned into what was supposed to be like a 6-month deal turned into a 3-year deal. And so when they were ready to say, well, we had been talking and again, trying to answer the question, who do we want to be? There was consensus amongst our council of presidents that, okay, well, we've been operating as a group of HBCUs since 2010. Why don't we just own that? So we started working on that strategic plan as I was interim. And when they were ready to hire the full-time person, my boss, Dr. Kimbrough, was deciding to step down at Dillard. And I just felt like, well, maybe it's time for me to just, move on from athletic director and fully take on this role, since we have what's a consensus with our presidents on the direction we want to go. And I feel comfortable that I can lead it. And so they decided to hire me full time, which I was very grateful for. And on June 1, 2022, I started full time. And so one of the things we were committed to was really grappling with the question, who are we and who do we want to be? And so at that point, we started saying, well, we're an HBCU conference too. We're the NAIA's only HBCU conference because we know that there are 4 other ones, but how do we differentiate ourselves in the market? And so I would say where some people may have seen NAIA as a negative because there's what I would say a classist system within the athletics world, is NCAA Division I FBS, then Division I FCS, then Division I, then Division II, then Division III. Then they be like, oh yeah, the NAIA. Like what?
Right.
What? Like,
That's what they think. That's what they think.
That's the way everybody views it. But in my brain, I'm like, well, we the NAIA's only HBCU conference. So that makes us special. Y'all all NCAA, we NAIA. So we started saying, well, let's commit to owning that identity. And as we started talking about that particular part of it, it was like, but we're also not a conference of Gulf Coast schools anymore. We don't have schools in just Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. We're in Texas. We're in Tennessee. We're in Arkansas. We're in the Virgin Islands. And with the addition of the new members, we'll be in Ohio and South Carolina. So we need to have a name that we feel like we can own, that we identify with, and one that will help other people identify our institutions. So the other thing was when I would show up and say, we're the GCAC, and they'd be like, well, what schools in your conference? I would name the schools and they knew my schools, but they didn't know us as a collective, like, other schools in the other conference. Like, if you can name, if I say SWAC, they can name all the schools in the SWAC. And they know them as one collective, the SWAC.
Yeah.
But the GCAC was like, man, I don't know no GCAC. And then I started naming my school. Oh, yeah, I heard of Fisk. Oh, yeah, I heard of Dillon. Oh, yeah, I heard. But never as a unit. And so part of the job and what I've had to do in terms of our strategic plan was, one, we needed to correct that. We got to figure out how to not have brand confusion in the marketplace. We need people to associate us as one collective group of people and eventually be able to name all the names. So when they say the HBCUAC, like, it's like, that's ABCDEFG, right? That's these schools, right?
Right.
So that was kind of the premise. So it took us about, I would say, 2 years we've been working through the process. And again, we were trying to answer the question, who are we and who do we want to be? How do we compete? How does our conference line up with some of the other conferences? And I would say that there is the hierarchy classes system that we talked about from a standpoint of NCAA, NAIA, but HBCU has its own system. And when you put all the HBCUs together, all that NCAA, NAIA stuff, honestly, don't mean the same thing in the HBCU world.
Yeah.
And in different ways, like outside of football, in basketball, when I was at Dillard, we beat Southern, Baton Rouge. I had my women's team beat UL Lafayette. We was beating D1s and D2s.
But nobody knows that. Like you said, it's always a misconception. What you're saying, like, that's why I thought this was so important, because a lot of people, like you said, NAI, that's that other league. But little do they know, like, and we said this on the broadcast as well, there are a lot of quality basketball players, women and men, that can really play. But, we mentioned this as well. Some of these high school kids that sometimes turn their nose up like, oh, that's NAI. We said it with no hesitation. You cannot play in this league. You cannot play in this league or come straight in as a freshman and think, oh, I'm just going to kill. Now, yes, you all did have an exception as a freshman. That was the player of the year, but that's a rare occasion right there. But the point we were making is this is a quality league, and there are some very good athletes there.
Yeah, and I would say we are quality in a lot of areas, like volleyball. We've consistently competed decently, at least our top teams. I wouldn't say that our bottom teams are there, but the top 3 teams in our conference are good and have competed well against other HBCU programs outside of the NAIA. And track and field is another space where, again, you just line it up toe to toe. Fast is fast. The association don't determine your fast. It's how fast you really are, right? And so I know Wiley, Dillard are like top programs, like do very well in track and field. Now, of course, and I'm thinking, and again, I speak about Dillard because that's where I spent my time. Like, they got an invite to the Penn Relays 1 year while I was there, like, because the time that they were producing was like, oh yeah, like they were in alignment. And so it kind of goes to that. I mean, if you're good, people will find you. And it honestly doesn't matter where you go. You want a place where you can perform and give it a shot to be your best. So those were, I would say that was the conversation amongst our colleagues around how we wanted to move forward. And so we wound up, after we were committed to saying, okay, we are going to commit to this. We are the NAIA's only HBCU athletic conference. We then put together a strategic plan that included expanding our sports to a sport expansion and membership growth. So that membership growth, we're trying to get to 16. That's our magic number. When we get to 16, that's when we feel like at that point, if you ain't in, you missed your shot, right? So
they better hurry up and get to the door.
No, that's right.
13, and I'm just, praying we can hold on. And we've got a list of people we've been working on. I can't share that list, but we've got a list of people we're recruiting, and Hope that they'll say yes. And so that was a part of it. So we committed to a strategic plan with a list of people we wanted to recruit. Then secondly, we committed to then moving forward with a company who could help us navigate that question, help us answer the question, who do we want to be? And so that took us about 1.5 years between the company meeting with the presidents, the ADs, the student group, coaches, and back and forth, putting stuff in front of us, trying to get an understanding of who we, what is the sentiment, who do we feel we are? And, we finally got to the point where we settled in on HBCU Athletic Conference. And then from that point, it was, we got to develop, what does that look like? What does it feel like? How does the logo? So when you look at the logo and the color scheme that we chose, black and white with just a touch of the blue. One of our student athlete committee members, one of the things they said was, well, we want to keep the blue because we don't want to forget where we came from. So it was like keeping a little blue from the old GCAC logo and keeping that with the black and white, right? Because black is luxurious, right? And one of the things, when I think about, at least when I think about us as Black people just in general, like, we like luxury. Now we may be like our boy talking about gator boots with a Gucci suit, ain't got no job to stay sharp. Hey, it's a real thing. Like, we may not, we gonna look good. You hear what I'm saying? So the logo and the brand has to have the feel like, man, I ain't gotta have no money, but I still stay sharp though.
Dave and I had a conversation, right? I was fortunate enough to be able to attend that morning when you unveiled the new logo and presented it with the video to all the kids. It was great. And Dave and I had a conversation talking about staying sharp, and we had a conversation immediately after the meeting, and Dave asked me what I thought. And I took some time and I thought about it, and I said, well, Dave, if you go to somebody and you show them, when I say companies, sponsors, with potential partners, when you go to somebody and you hand them this logo and you tell them what the name of the conference is, they immediately understand what it is.
Oh yeah.
And they go, oh, we have this amount of money allocated to do this. Oh, this is great. This is, we don't have to interpret this. We don't have to, spend time shopping this around. Nope. This is name recognition. We immediately understand, yes, I'm Target. I want to partner with you. I'm Walmart. I want to partner with you. This is how much money we have allocated to do this, because this is easy, right, to recognize. Have your partners so far been fond of, I won't ask you to give up any names, but potential partners, have they been fond of?
Oh yeah, we've got great response, and that matters, because we needed it to matter there as well. Like, it was a twofold thing. We got to be attractive to the culture. That's one. Mm-hmm. That's one side of it. It's gotta be fly, right? Like, but the other piece of it is, it's gotta have an appeal of high quality. God. And that high quality and luxury feel is when you look at all luxury brands, black and white. Like, they don't need color. And if they do, it's a splash.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a little splash. But when you go get when you get married or you have a big event, you get a black car. You get a we are luxury. We are premium. We are the place where winners thrive. That's our tagline. Okay. And who doesn't want to be connected to a winner?
It's true.
I just don't know nobody don't want to be connected to a winner. And when we look at our institutions, pound for pound, what we're doing, I'm not just talking about sports. I'm talking about, when you look at the graduates we're putting out, and when you look at the stories of alumni who attend our institutions, we are truly the place where winners thrive, period.
100%. We're starting to get questions from the audience out here, Dave. I don't know if you want to bring some of these up, but.
Oh, hey, Coach. That's Amber Waters right there. What up, coach? Y'all can come back. Y'all welcome anytime.
Coach asking about some scheduling here. What will be the plan of scheduling with your sports adding teams going forward? Are you planning to have pods or divisions once you get to this 16-team number?
Yeah. So actually, we will be instituting divisions starting next year with the 13 teams. And the ADs, they will, I think, finalize the schedule either this month or it'll be at the NAIA meeting in person. But basically, they will play home and home in their divisions and then play pods across divisions. So that is at least the last meeting that they had when they were reviewing the initial proposed schedule. That was the option that prevailed. So we're close to almost getting it done, but we couldn't do it if we didn't have divisions. So we're really excited about that. As I shared a little bit earlier, we tried this in 2011, 12, when we were first starting expansion. We weren't necessarily ready. I felt like I learned a lot from that experience that has helped to kind of aid us in this second go around at it, you know.
Put me in the division with the Virgin Islands. I want to take a trip to the Virgin Islands every year. Put me in the division with them. Home and home? Yeah, put me in the division with them.
Hey, let me tell you something. They probably have the best facility in the conference.
Really?
Yeah, they have a 3,000 seater. If you're familiar with the Paradise Gym,
yes,
that's where they host that event at their facility. They've done it for the last 15, 20 years or so.
Because they have a big tournament there at that.
Yeah, Paradise Gym. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. They have all the elements needed to really do some amazing things. It's expensive to travel there though, and so we're still kind of trying to work through that. This was our first year where all the teams traveled. And so we're still trying to figure that out. I'm looking for an airline partner. I'm just gonna put that out there. If anybody got to connect with any of the airlines, we looking to fly the friendly skies. Sure. How would they feel to be flying the HBCU Athletic Conference membership? I just feel like it'd be a great partnership. So
that would be.
I'm throwing that in the atmosphere, but
you never know who's listening.
Yeah, if you're listening. But I will say that it's like everybody enjoyed their times. Some of them maybe too much, but
right.
Hey, they don't have there's not a bad weather day there. It's 80 degrees all the time.
Man.
They own their own beach. It is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Wow. Okay. We got some more people showing you some love.
Yeah, you biased, Daddy. But I appreciate it. We accept all the love.
Do have one of the best commissioners. I agree. And I will agree with you. I believe that Delta has some money already set aside to handle this travel. So we just gonna believe that's already taken care of.
Remember, come on with it, Delta.
Trust me.
So, I wanted to ask you in year one, what are some of the things that you are the most proud of that you were able to accomplish?
Ooh. Last year. Okay, so of course, signing the media rights deal with HBCU Plus was like, golly, like that was the one thing that really took everything to the next level. So that was one. So signing the largest deal in NAI history, and getting the commitment from Hope Credit Union to be our title sponsor. They're our largest to date, our largest corporate sponsor. And I will say both of those individuals, Bill Bynum, who's the CEO, and Hardy and Todd with HBCU Plus, both of those three gentlemen believed in the GCAC when the GCAC had nothing to show. All I had was a dream. Like, here's what I believe we could be. And I'm just selling the vision about all these things, but there were no receipts. We had nothing. Like, it was literally like them taking a leap of faith and believing in my leadership, and what was possible. It was truly a leap of faith for them. And for me, I am extremely grateful because that's not the way this world works. And this industry doesn't work that way. Everybody's got like, I need ABC. I'm going to do this, but you got to do this. Like there isn't this, well, I'm going to put some money on the table. I might not get something back, but it's okay. We tried. That's not how this goes. But without any, I didn't have the members yet. I had nothing other than a dream. And, after conversations about what we could do, the synergies were there. Again, they believed in me personally. They believed in our member institutions, and they signed us. And they made an investment. Like they made an investment. And I will say that from a personal standpoint, I have always wanted to not let people down who take care of me and who have believed in me when other people didn't. That is very important to me. The people who are my mentors in my life, if I ever wanted to act up, I think about the people who call my name and rules, and I be like, man, I can't do that. Then I'm gonna make my people look bad. Like, So I will say that there are people who have been cheerleaders for me personally as a leader and have put their name on the line because they believed in me. And so I will say that when people believe in me, they can count on me. They can count on me to do everything possible to make it work. And what I'll say is if I'm a part of it, it's going to work. That just is what it is. It just trust me. And it's like that. When someone like says, okay, I believe you, and they really believe me, it's like, oh yeah, now let me work. And that's kind of what has happened. And we want to do a great job for our members. So the presidents took a chance on me too. Now I will say that I demonstrated that I could lead. I had been in charge since 2010. It ain't like I hadn't been doing it, but they still had to say yes to me. Mm-hmm. So my Council of Presidents group, all my chairs, Dr. Hogan, who was a former Tougaloo president, Dr. Smothers, former president at Philander, Dr. Walters was the former president of Tougaloo. All of those people who were my chairs during my time as even when I was president or interim commissioner. And then Dr. Kimbrough allowing me to be in a dual role because that was taking time away from the work I was doing at Dillard. All of those people believed in me. They were able to convince other people like, we need to do this and let's continue to do this. So I will say that I won't let people down. I won't let people down. That's not in my DNA. So I am extremely grateful that we are in year 2 and I feel like we're in year 5. Like, I was like, Lord, I got to rewrite the strategic plan. We almost halfway through this thing.
Well, so that's a great segue because that was my next question about what does the future of the HBCU AC, what does the future look like? What is that roadmap and vision?
Yeah. So, right now I'm still the only full-time team member. I want the conference to grow in terms of structure, where we do have other full-time members. I have a fantastic team. Let me just say that. That would probably be the other thing I'm pretty proud of. I've had really great people, even if they're not with us anymore, that have been on the journey with me. And so having a great team, I think, is the other thing I'm really, really proud of. But growing that team to where we have full-time and we can have benefits and all those things will solidify the conference governance, the conference structure from a financial stability standpoint. So I will say the next 3 years, getting those partnerships is going to be really critical and ensuring that our championships make money for the conference. Like that's the other piece of this. Like sports has to make money for our schools. So the SEC has figured that out.
Yes,
everybody done figured it out. Like we gotta get into the space where our sports teams generate money. Now, what I would always say, and we don't necessarily talk about this in the space, but for small private schools, sports do bring in money because most of the kids are not all on full scholarship. So in money we're making in tuition, well, we generating revenue.
Right. Right.
It may not be ticket sales. It may not be all of these big corporate deals, but we're definitely generating revenue and contributing to the bottom line because we recruit. And so sometimes helping other higher education administrative professionals view sports in that way could be helpful. If I had to say probably what were the biggest challenges that small private colleges face, it's usually fighting with admin on campus for resources. So we need more resources, but all it takes is a faculty member to get mad and start complaining about the president out of there. So even if maybe a president would want to make an investment in athletics, they're not trying to fight with their faculty senate. But what I've always said, and I probably sometimes will get in trouble saying stuff like this, I was like, if we really operated, I played basketball. So if we operated like a true team and you understood the role athletics could play, you wouldn't say this. And I've always said this, there is not a news station focused on your research. Ain't nobody tuning in to watch some late biological
That is true.
discovery that you came up with. But I can tell you 24/7, somebody talking about what's happening in sports. So from a market, just from a sheer marketing perspective, if we invest in our programs and make them the best they can be from a marketing standpoint, at least I can get people to come and see you. Because without me, they wouldn't see you. But when you see us as PE or as over here, it's like there's just a lack of understanding of how we can help. I can help people see you. I can get people to come to the campus. Again, I can get more eyes on you if you just allow me to get some support. And so just fundamentally in higher ed, at least at small private schools, that's where all the fighting is everybody need a whole bunch of money and there ain't a lot of it. And we're fighting about who should get it. And athletics usually loses, unfortunately, because the president don't want to get fired because back in the Senate put out a no vote. But at the end of the day, I'm like, you're shooting your own self in the foot. Nobody's still coming to see you if you vote the president out and get a new one.
There needs to be a study done on how athletic success leads to increased enrollment.
It's done right. Like it has to be done right. Like, and I'll shout out my good favorite president, Dr. Faison, because what he has done at Edward Waters, when I tell you he took that thing and turned it around.
Yes, he
had
did.
my good friend Paul. When Paul was there, Paul was the AD and was working with us when they started doing the transition. But they had a full plan in place that included all of those elements. He understood making the place appealing, making it a fun place. All of those things are going to contribute to a better student experience. And I will say that when I think about the last few years, I think he's done it the best that I've seen from being led by the president, right? Mm-hmm. Now I don't know how he worked his politics and they didn't give him no faculty senate, no vote. But I mean, those are real challenges on campus. And I mean, it just is what it is. But my fight is going to always be for how can athletics bring more exposure? How do we utilize our platforms to share more about our institutions? So we had HBCU admissions fair aligned with, so on that Thursday, as the press conference was going on, Stillman hosted Tiger Day, and then it transitioned to an admissions fair. We had 11 out of our 13 institutions present, and over 600 or some students learning about our schools because they didn't know about our schools because they don't know the GCs.
Mm-hmm. That was very strategic, though, and to lead to your point, athletics is the front porch to almost every university.
Yeah,
100%. That student fair was genius. I have never heard that being done before during the conference tournament, but that was a genius play. Like you said, 600 students.
It was received very well, and we were very happy. So we have a commitment to do 2 of those, and so there are two strategic things from a conference level we're looking to do for our institutions. One, because I'm on the media, I get to call all my my school's my member schools' names in the media in markets that they may be already recruiting. And there's a focus on my school. Like, it's not just us coming to do a sport. And again, like I said, if you understand what sports can do, then you can see it outside of a game. So every time I had an opportunity to call all my school's names when I was being interviewed, I did. Come and support our HBCU admissions fair. Connect these young people. Everybody can't go to, at that time we were in Alabama, so everybody can't go to UA. But guess what? You got Stillman and 11 others. And I usually memorize them in alphabetical order so I don't forget nobody. So I go in alphabetical order and I name every school. We include them on our marketing materials. So it's like, so you can start knowing who we are. So it's bigger than just from a conference perspective to me, because I was a higher educational professional. I have a PhD in leadership, and my focus was on student athlete success. So I see this bigger than just putting on a sport or an event. This is about building our collective brand as a conference, but also strengthening the brands of our institutions where we're pulling all the money for marketing. So if my school don't have money for marketing, that's okay. We got you.
Speaking of marketing, you guys also have a pretty huge social media following. Like, your IG presence was up there quite a bit.
Oh, that's all Danny. Like, that's having a good director of communication and then getting the right people on the team. But she's done a great job in developing a strategy to help us build in that space. And I will say, I think that's probably the platform where the student athletes are the most as well. So, you know, when they see themselves,
hey, yep, retweet.
They sharing the reels. They like, look at me right here.
That's a great point right there. And that's helping the overall brand. Like you said, that's helping GCAC net, which will be the HBCU Athletic Association brand as well. And it's spreading without you even doing anything right then and there, because social media is your friend.
When we use it correctly, it is your friend. But you know, you have to commit to having full-time SIDs. Like, there are all kinds of pieces where we've as individual institutions, you know, I kind of watch HBCU chatter sometimes, people going back and forth. We got to market our teams better. And some of that goes back to us not committing, some of our schools just not committing to having minimal resources. And so, and again, we all fighting for the dollar. And it's tough, but we have to be strategic with the dollars we have, and we have to be able to communicate the bigger picture to other people. So, like, when I showed up and I talked to the admissions counselors, I was like, if you don't have a marketing budget, we can help you with that, because we're going to do work that's going to help you. Like, we're gonna get kids to come to the game. Why can't they talk to you? We'll bring the kids to you. We're gonna make it easier for you. That's how we can help you. And so it's helping each area of the institution understand how each one helps one another. And honestly, you know, again, I've been in higher ed my entire education. I started in '97. I will say that it's disjointed a lot. You know, again, people think we PE sometimes, and it's like,
you can see it. You can see it.
We're not physical education.
But you said something a little earlier, which leads into the next question. You talk money, but it's a lot of things that people don't see behind the scene. And it was the economical impact of what the GCAC tournament brought to Tuscaloosa. Can you talk on that one a little bit?
Yeah, so it was really cool. So I remember Kelsey and Chris. Chris is there, is the SID at Stillman, and he did a lot of good work helping us connect with media there. Really grateful for him. But one of the things that when Kelsey and her team were thinking about this partnership and bidding for the tournament, They have formulas with how they kind of look at this in terms of how many rooms, hotels we're going to have, how many teams, and they can kind of calculate what the economic spend will be. And so I think our predicted economic impact was $750 to $1 million. Like from the small NAIA, HBCU only conference, like, like, oh, $1 million. Like, I mean, that's a lot of money. And when we start thinking about our value in the system, like if we can help somebody make $1 million, you best believe we need to be on the front end of receiving some of these partnerships.
Absolutely.
So that our schools can thrive.
100%. The bid, the price just went up. The bid for the
Yesterday's price, today's price.
You better say it.
The HBCU Athletic Conference Basketball Championships, the price just went up for sure.
Literally. And let me just say this. We were excited to bring on Mercedes-Benz as a partner, first time partner this year. And I was like, man, I was like, yeah, this is good. We were really grateful. It was a small partnership at least to start off with. But again, they didn't even have to do that. But we were extremely grateful to have them join us for the first time as a partner this year. And hope we can grow that, right? Maybe, we can parlay that into some other things. But man, we definitely need to be on the front end of ensuring that, again, like I said, for me, from a future perspective, we've got to ensure that the championships generate income, for that can eventually be shared, that can sustain and be able to sustain a staff. We rent an office right now in a co-working space. Maybe one day we'll have maybe our own building and we can get into that space like some other conferences. But we are truly grateful for where we are, the partners that we have. And again, that's for the future. But I do look forward to one day when we'll have more than one full-time employee.
Hey, you got to crawl before you walk.
Yeah, one step at a time. We are the babies. I think we're 43 years old this year as a conference. Jackie McWilliams Parker is my sister, and I would say my big sister in the commissioner space. She's the person that I look up to when I think about excellence in this role. She is the standard. And she's the person that I'm like, okay, if Jackie did it, okay, we do it. Like,
you talking about Jackie that used to be at Furman?
No, at CIAA, the CIAA commissioner.
Okay.
Commissioner of the CIAA. She is the standard in the commissioner role, at least as far as I'm concerned. And I am grateful to have her, her sister, having her as a sister and somebody I can call on when I'm trying to navigate and when I have questions. And when, here's what I'm thinking about. Can you give me some insight? So I'm very, very, very fortunate to have her on speed dial. And as I have had conversations with our presidents, I've always said, if you're aware of CIAA, we want to do that in the Deep South. They have that on lock. It's just,
oh yeah, that's like a festivity. CIAA that turned into festivity.
That's the dream, right? Like when I go to sleep and dream, that's where I want to be, and that's where we're trying to move toward.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And that brings up, and as you're talking about this, you have 3 teams coming on board next season. Well, 3 schools, excuse me. 3 schools, not teams. We're student athletes here. We're student athletes. So can you talk about the 3 schools that'll be joining the conference next year?
Yeah, we have Wilberforce out of Ohio. I think, I'm trying to think, were they I feel like they were the first HBCU. I got to remember, they've got a first in there, but Wilberforce out of Ohio is joining us. Stillman, of course, they were doing a trial run with the championship, and they, again, knocked it out the park.
Yes,
and then Voorhees is returning. So they are returning to us, and we are very happy to have them return and be a member. That allows us now to move to that East-West division that we were talking about. They are HBCUs. you don't have to be at HBCU to be in the HBCU and athletic conference, but understanding that's the core of who we are as a part of what it is. You know, Spring Hill joined the SEAC, you know, when they left the GCAC and went D2, they wound up joining SIAC. I mean, it's the same thing for us. Again, since 2010, which would make 14 years now, we've been operating with this group of people. So we just decided it was time to own that now. And so we would never, you know, exclude people like that. That wouldn't be where we are, but our identity is who we are. And all of our HBCUs are very diverse. Like we have a little bit of everything at our schools. So HBCUs has never meant that we were exclusive, if that means like, it's never meant that from our campuses, but it certainly is our identity. It's who we identify as, and there are cultural pieces of our identity that we're really excited to now fully own, and hope that we can continue to tell. It gives us a better platform to tell our story of the magnificent work that our members continue to do as we educate, you know, the next generation of leaders.
So there's a question that I had to ask you, you know, but I could not let you out of here before asking this question. Now, so you want a career in athletics?
Oh.
When I saw that, I thought, wow, to give back in that type of way is profound. Could you, everybody that's listening, could you tell them about that organization and what that means to you and what you've been doing?
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up. I didn't realize we were going to talk a little bit about that, but So You Want a Career in Athletics is a program that I started to help expose young women to careers in sport. It all started with kind of my career journey. So people always ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up. And what I'm doing is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do TV, you know, kind of maybe host a show, kind of like you all are doing. Like, I think that's where I had my dream set. So when my coach initially, my first coach, when the first offer came and it said, you want to be a graduate assistant, I just kind of was like, no, I don't want to do that. It wasn't until I was starting to realize that my life for basketball was over. I had another coach, the lady who actually recruited me, took a head job, and she came back and offered me an opportunity. And was like, okay, well, at least I know basketball. I can stick around that. I worked the camps, you know, I can figure it out. But that's when I kind of got exposed to all these other people that had made sure I was okay. But I never was, first of all, I didn't see Black people in the roles. I didn't see Black women. Everybody that was in my space was most likely a white man. All my coaches were white men. Well, I had one in my junior high school, like it was a white woman. I had a couple of white women that were in my space, but like, just weren't very many Black people anywhere. And so I was kind of like, oh, that's a job. Oh, there's a compliance person. Oh, that's what you do. Oh, sports information director. Oh, that was the person writing the articles about me and taking pictures. Like, there were all these people around me that I just didn't know. And I said, how could I have spent the amount of time that I spent in sport and never considered a career in sport? Yeah. Like, how does that happen? And part of the reason is why, because I never saw people that looked like me in any of those jobs. So the goal was, one, to connect young women, to connect them with other women, because now I'd had the opportunity to be in the space long enough to develop relationships and to find out that there were tons of other women in the space. And the key idea was to be the bridge. And so that when it's my time to step down, that we haven't learned all this stuff and we haven't shared knowledge. There was a time when I initially came in the industry for young Black coaches at the time where if you were at an HBCU school, you were told things like, you got to get out because you ain't going to go nowhere in the industry. Yeah. And people who were coaching at bigger schools, bigger conferences, if they were Black, they didn't associate with people from HBCUs. Like, so whatever they was learning, they wasn't sharing. So how do I get a chance if I desire to be at that level? Well, how do I learn if we not sharing?
Very true.
So
Yep.
it was like that has changed. There's been a lot of things that have happened, but I can tell you when I came into the industry, it was very much so like if you go to HBC, you better hurry up and get out like a one and done. Get in and get out. Because you go get stuck over there and nobody's gonna hire you. And so I just wanted to make sure that young women, especially if they were a former student athlete, knew that a career was possible for them. And to know that you could lead in your own unique way. So I am one of one, like Beyonce say. There and who I am is who I am, and I lead very uniquely, and I've been successful. A young woman needs to know they can be quirky and goofy and still be a good leader. All my leaders were dictatorial. And so when I tried to be dictatorial as a leader, I got rejected. And I couldn't understand, well, man, I ain't never say nothing back to them people when they was talking to me crazy. So now I'm talking to people crazy and they turning their nose up, being disrespectful. I was like, I would never do these things. But what I realized, what worked for them don't work for me. So I had to figure out my own way. And so what I'm trying to help these young ladies who may be similar or like understand that there's more than one way. Like you may have been accustomed to 1 + 8. I'm 4 + 5. What do you get? I can't say what they say on that song in New Orleans. Anyway, I'm 4 + 5, right? I'm not 1 + 8. 2 + 7. All of them equal 9, though. So there's no certain way you have to be to lead. You just have to have a heart for people. You have to have confidence in what you do. And you got to be skilled at what you're doing, right? You got to have knowledge and education and all those things. But all kinds of different personalities can lead. And I'm just one prototype of what that could look like. And so that was kind of what it is. And I mean, I grew up as I'm a church girl. You know, I grew up, my mom's a minister now, but she was a minister of music when I was growing up. And I was always taught to whom much is given, much is required. So you just, you know, if you got it to give, then you give it. And so I'm extremely grateful for the path that has been given to me. Like it's been an interesting journey, nothing I planned. But if I can provide some help or shine some light in some kind of way where that trailway isn't as dark as it was for me, then I've done my part.
For sure. Oh, we want to shout out one of your proteges there. We got a chance to work with Diamond Forrest on the play call. She was terrific. She worked really hard at her craft. So I don't know if she came through your program, but I know she was a former athlete and worked really hard at her craft. So
yeah,
I just
recruited her. So Danny recruited her to become a part of our team. So we're really grateful for her, for Diamond. She's amazing. And again, another former student athlete doing her thing. She didn't necessarily come to my program, but I think that I will say that if I have the opportunity to shed some light and work with a young person, then I will. But she's amazing. And I think if she continues to work and get better at her craft, you know, the sky will be the limit.
I agree.
And we just had one last question before we let you go. How did you feel about the success of the tournament in Tuscaloosa?
Man, I feel like we laid a very solid foundation for what it should be. I'll tell you that as the tournament was going on, I had a note. I used the note app. I had a ton of things like, oh, we need to do this next year. Oh, we need to do that better. Like even as it was going, even though it went extremely well, I had like a ton of things that I knew we could level up on. And that makes me excited. I was very pleased. Everything went as well, better than I think what we could have imagined. Again, this is new partners. So this is our first year working with Stillman, first year with Visit Tuscaloosa. You don't know what you're going to get. But I can tell you those teams worked really hard. We did a media tour, I think in January, when we went around and met with Chamber of Commerce, the Sports Board, Sports Commission Board, Like we met with everybody, superintendents, everybody. That was a part of getting students out. Like if we hadn't had that meeting with the superintendent and the athletic director of the city schools, would we have had that many teams show up? Or students show up for the admissions fair? I would say no, that would not have happened. They single-handedly had 240 of the kids.
Wow.
And all of that was, again, a credit to the Visit Tuscaloosa team and Stillman teams, helping us get in and get in the community early.
I agree. And
fantastic.
Yeah, I think Madre will agree as well. I mean, you knocked it out the park. You as the leader, your whole team, the whole GCAC staff, you guys did an amazing job. And we were happy to be a part of it. Definitely.
I got great people, man. That's one thing I can say. GCAC team is woo. Hey, I call them we the Avengers.
Danny came over there to that announce table and gave us everything that we could possibly need. We had all the records, all the rosters, all the names, the history of the schools, the breakdown, everything that we needed. But no, the energy, I could see where the energy comes from. We always say leadership, it starts at the top, and teams take on the personality of their leader, and you can definitely see it. I can't congratulate you guys enough. Again, I don't want to call nobody out, but every year I am amazed at who provides the better experience for the student athlete. And like you said, those levels don't mean much. As the great Georgia basketball player Tukey Brown once said, those rankings can't save you between them lines. And those levels can't save you when it comes down to putting on your event. Because I know personally there were Division II conference champions that there were no videographers there. There were no, they did not do banquets. They didn't do student outreach. Those things did not take place. And those levels don't necessarily make you better. You got to prove it in between the lines. And you guys absolutely did that.
Man, I'm going to take that right there. I need to start using it right there. Last, baby.
And shout out to
we going toe to toe.
Shout out to whoever did the food.
Oh man, hey.
I can't leave them out.
So Mercedes-Benz was our hospitality suite sponsor. So there was a different company or restaurant who sponsored each, who brought food for every day. And I promise you, they did not miss. I feel the same way. I was like, they just don't miss in Alabama. And I'm from Louisiana and I live in New Orleans. So I know good food. I was like, man, Alabama killing it over here.
They did.
So no. It was amazing. My favorite restaurant.
No, seriously, it was awesome. It was really good. Look, we would leave after we called those games. We were going back to the hotel room full, like, whoo, I'm good now.
I know. You have to worry about going to get nothing to eat after it was over. Like, what are we doing? We in the gym from 12 to 10. I gotta go find something to eat afterwards. Like, man, that's not right.
No,
it was great.
Listen, Dr. Barnes, I want to thank you so much for coming on. We talked about this before we left. We wanted to bring you on and really get the GCAC out there for the people that didn't know. We felt we had a platform to use it, and this won't be the last time you come on the show. Trust me. And I want to thank your whole staff. Like I said, Danny's been amazing. I don't know the young lady that I want to shout her out. I don't know her name. I should have asked her name. Madre, you probably know her name. She brought us our score sheets. She went downstairs to bring us food. She was she was mopping the floor. She was doing a little bit of everything.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. She was one of our volunteers. Oh, she was
Listen, you need to hire her because I was like, she put in work.
She definitely was working. She was getting it done.
Man, yeah, I mean, but that was all part of the experience, and that's all jokes aside. That was, like Madre said, from the leadership from the top down, everybody bought in and added value in some way.
Absolutely. That's what it's about. We're a team. This is as close to playing basketball as I can get now. I don't get to play it no more. So, our team, this is as close to team sports as I can get. It's a lot of fun. Again, doing good work with great people.
No, yeah.
There's nothing better than it.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest things that stuck out, I'm gonna put Danny on blast now. Everybody enjoys themselves even during the downtime. So one of the young men didn't think Danny could play. Danny sat down, got in that defensive stand and slapped the floor and was like, "What?" What? And you can hear the whole gym like, "Uh-oh."
Listen, Dave, and got a steal. And she got a steal. She played defense and got a steal.
I missed this. When did this happen?
It was towards the end after a long day. And it was just one of those things, like, even it was a long day, but everybody was still cheerful and joyful the whole nine.
It's some time to have some fun.
Just having some fun. That's what made it even better. It made it even better. Absolutely. I wish I could have got that on tape. I would have saved that one. Trust me.
Look at Danny. In my heels. Yes, she did. She got out there in the defensive stance. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. That was hilarious.
That's hilarious.
It was a great time. That actually, Dave, that just summed it up perfect. That encompasses what this event was absolutely about. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And, Dr. Barnes, we're going to go ahead and do our recap. So, I know you got a busy schedule, so we weren't going to keep you. Now, you're more than welcome to stay if you want to. But, we were going to talk about the recaps of the championships and the semifinals and some of the quality players that we saw because, once again, people don't know how good this league is, and they need to know.
That's right. Well, let me say thank you. I do have another Zoom I have to go get on.
No problem.
But I am super grateful that you all offered us an opportunity and offered me an opportunity to come on and talk about our conference. And we are super grateful for what you contributed to a great championship experience. So much love to you.
Oh, thank you. I mean, we had a heck of a time. We already said we'll be back next year. We got our schedule cleared out for next year.
Go ahead, look, put us down. Go ahead and mark it down.
Just let us know the city. That's all. Let us know the city and keep the food on point. Keep that food on point.
We'll make sure the food is on point.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And like I said, we'll make it a point to have you on this show again to talk some more. No longer GCAC, some HBCU Athletic Association talk.
Athletic Conference.
I'm sorry, Athletic Conference. Excuse me. See, that food got my mind going somewhere else.
All right, y'all.
But you have a good one, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Same to y'all. Thank you.
All right, take care. Man, Dre, I love her. I love her. She is so energetic, and that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a business, but man, we did have fun. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We had a great time. And on top of having a great time, we sat there as we get into our next segment. We were looking at each other like, man, these are some hoopers out here on both sides.
Great basketball was being played. And you got to love Dr. Barnes. Her energy and enthusiasm shows through for her conference. But like I told you, we talked about this privately. I'll say it publicly. You got to have a product to be excited about. And she's got a great product.
Yeah, yes, she does.
She's got a great product. I was really blown away with the level of talent and ability, not even just basketball skill, but even size that is playing in that league. Mm-hmm. That is great basketball being played in that league. If that speaks to the rest of athletics, then They've got a lot to be excited about, and the expansion, I think, can move forward. I think, if you're in a high school, if you're at HBCU and you're not beating down the door trying to come and get in that conference, maybe you're scared of the competition. but you may be making a mistake. It's I could easily see that becoming a moneymaker. I could see those schools together as a conference.
Oh yeah.
Moving up a level or making a super conference or whatever they decide to do. The options are I think endless, because of the quality of the way they market the schools. If I'm not mistaken, they're close to like 500,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, man. I was I was looking like, oh, they got us looking bad out here, Dre.
Listen, I'm telling you, and I didn't want to say this. I didn't want to call people out with Dr. Barnes. I didn't want to make anything embarrassing, but there were Division II leagues that played their conference tournament in a closet. You might as well been in a closet in the dark because nobody knows what happened.
Mm-hmm.
The way they market and promote this league, if you're a player and you want an opportunity after your college career is over, you have to play somewhere where you have a platform.
Mm-hmm.
And the schools in this league have a very powerful platform to get the word out. And you've got great film, right? Once you get into that comp, you got great film. Mm-hmm. So, hey, I know everybody has their network or whatever, but does your conference have a media deal, a media rights deal in place where your media rights partner actually shows up and does the games? Okay, maybe I said too much. Maybe I said too much. But I'm just saying.
I mean, even though you're speaking facts, and you gave a jab, whatever. But
a little pow,
little jab, jab back up. You're filling out. But in all honesty, man, like we're not being funny when we say this. Like the experience was incredible, and like we said, we've been to D2 tournaments, and we're not going to call any names because that's not what this is about.
I've been to D1 conference tournaments.
Oh, we're not going to call any names. We're not going to call any names, but
because I will.
The quality of this was so high level. You could see, like, listen, we go to certain things and we'll say, oh, that's nice, okay. Oh, it was a good game, this, that, and the other. But when you have a great overall experience, you can see this blooming to be something very big in the future.
Absolutely can. You had the DJ in there. You had the bands in there for the fans.
Yeah.
It was a high, I think Dr. Barnes summed it up perfectly. Luxury. It was a high level event. It was a high level event. And regardless of what your tag is on the front of your name, division or level, that was a high level event. And again, I've been to Division I conference tournaments, worked them, been behind the scenes, the whole nine, and they were right there. They're competing. They're competing with some of the better events that I've been to. So, if I'm a player, I'm considering that. If I'm a coach, thinking about what league I want to get into, I want to coach into, I'm thinking about that. They have a platform.
Absolutely, they have a platform. And again, I'm going to say this again, and I said it on the broadcast. You high school kids, you definitely need to consider this because you're not going to come into this conference and just dominate. That's what we saw this weekend. No, you're not. You may get redshirted.
Hey, speaking of, we want to get into the basketball. Do you want to do men's or women's first?
Ladies first. Ladies first. Ladies first.
How do you want to cover it? I have an idea for how we could cover it. Do you want to do it like we're playing pickup basketball and you pick 5 and I'll pick 5? We alternate and see where we end up.
We'll go like that.
I think that might be fun.
Get it. Jump ball, get it.
I think that might be fun.
Hey, man, but no, seriously, I didn't know what to expect, from the women's side because I knew about the men's side and I knew it well because you remember we knew about Talladega making the deep run to the championship and then putting some guys in D1 after that successful year. I didn't know, but after watching the women, hey man, listen, let me tell you something. That young lady from Fisk can play at a number of schools.
So who's your first pick, D? I'll give you first pick. I'll be a gentleman. I'm the guest. I'll give you first pick. You gonna pick 5. I'm gonna pick 5, and we'll talk about who we picked and why. I'll give you first pick. Who you picking first? I got a list over here. You can go through rosters, whatever you want to do, baby. Who you got?
My first pick has to be Maya Buchanan. Has to be.
I knew you was going inside.
Oh, you knew
I knew you were going inside.
Yeah, come on. You know I'm an inside out guy. Come on.
Okay.
But I know who my second one is. Who's your next one?
No. I'll give my.
Oh, you give me 5?
But no. I'm saying we're gonna alternate picks.
Okay, so go ahead, take
Maya Buchanan first. But I'll give you an opportunity to say why, right?
Oh.
Because the audience didn't get a chance to watch what we watched. I know why.
You know why. Ladies and gentlemen, I love post players. I love traditional post players, and I love aggressive rebounders. So when I saw this young lady, again, Madre has known me for 27 years now, so he knew from the door. When I saw her, I was like, right there, I'll take her.
Yes.
He knew that from the door. So I built my type of team with that because I feel like I can get a guard. So, and Danny she just brought up a great point. They can watch all the replays this week on the GCAC network on HBCU Plus. Hey, listen, I'm going to catch me some more of them because my next pick, I'm hoping you don't take her, but go ahead with your pick.
Maya Buchanan is definitely a baller. For my first pick, I'm sorry, D. I'm taking Diamond Sweats. Are you crazy?
Man, I get it.
Are you crazy?
Man.
Are you crazy?
That was my second pick.
I'm taking T-Mac. Are you? Hey, listen. Diamond Sweats is a certified bucket getter.
Yeah.
You don't have to call plays for me. 1-4 flat. Give me the ball. 1-4 flat. Get out of the way. That's the offense. Give me the ball. And everybody just get out the way. That is the offense. We were in the championship game against Fisk, and Fisk is making their run. They're making their run against Rust. They're trying to close the game. I think they cut it down to 8. Like they were, and we were like, "Uh-oh, okay."
Yeah.
And then
when they needed a bucket,
Diamond Sweats came down on the next 5 straight possessions. Snatch back, pull up, cash, 3-ball, cash, drive, free throw line, mid-ranger, cash. Like, hey, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Lucky get 6 foot.
Yeah, about 6 foot.
So we're not talking about little guard. We talk about big guard. Real bucket getter.
But you know what though? I want to stick to this point because the first 2 we named, there is no doubt in my mind they could be all conference D2 players as well as they could play in the SWAC and MEAC hands down.
Because they'll play wherever they want to play.
Yeah, they can play. Like it's almost like somebody got a steal when you see the first 2 that we named because the first 2, I mean, like I said. It's just the difference of style. And I was crossing my fingers, but I should have known better you was going to take her. I should have known better.
Hey, man.
But I'm going to stay right there for my next pick. I'm going to stay right there with Russ. Kennedy Green.
Hooper. Certified Hooper.
Hooper. Because when it wasn't Diamond, it was Kennedy Green. And if you take her, I'm fine with that as well. And Nia McGuire. That trio right there for us. Look, not one, not two, not three. And that stuck out in our mind too when they kept saying that. And I was like, why are they saying that? They was like, oh, that's championships. I was like, oh, okay. But no, my second pick would be Kennedy Green.
That's a good pick, D.
Oh, I know.
That's a good pick. But, however, I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing the name correctly. But I got one for you.
Madre, look at that right there. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. It doesn't matter. She made a small mistake. It's Tech Arcana. Still, it's a higher level, but it all makes sense. Makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
My second pick, I'm going big. From Wiley, I'm taking Elizabeth Camacho.
Yeah. I can see in your eyes when you're calling that game. She was one of your favorites. Was one of your favorites.
Nothing flashy.
Tim Duncan.
I'm grabbing every rebound, footwork in the paint. She showed some of the best footwork that I saw, men's or women's, out of the entire event. Great post presence inside, toughness, plays hard. Yeah, that would be my second pick. And she's 6'3", 6'4", something crazy like that.
Yeah, I mean, no, she has some great size, but like you said, fundamentals were so you almost, I think we said it during the broadcast, you almost want to assume that her parents were a coach.
She got to the middle of the lane and hit him with the dream shake.
Now, my next pick from Tougaloo, Rodrika Parker.
Hooper.
Yes, sir.
Hooper.
Yes, sir.
I'm with it. For my next pick, I'm going Liz Gibbs.
Oh, dang, man.
Yeah, bro. Liz Gibbs. Yeah.
That's fine.
Bucket getter.
Yes. Certified hooper. But I can say right there, if you're taking Liz, it was going to be either or, then I'm taking Zipper Davis.
Zip Davis is tough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going back to Russ for my pick.
Okay.
This is where I'm at. I'm at number 4, right?
Are you at 4? I think so. Yeah, you are.
I took Diamond. I took Liz Gibbs and Elizabeth Camacho.
Yep. So this is your 4.
Right? I'm going with another bucket getter, and I'll figure out how to play them all together. I'll figure it out. Nia McGuire.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Nia. Oh, sorry, Neo McGuire. Nia. Hooper.
Oh, no question. No
30
question.
ball.
No question.
Mid-range maven.
Now, I need a point guard. And this young lady, it wasn't that she was a floor general. And I kept saying that during the broadcast that she was a floor general. And I loved her. Because she ran that offense so good.
I got two
Billingham.
Oh! But you know what? I had 2 point guards that I was absolutely in love with, so I ain't mad. Go ahead. That was one of them.
She ran that offense so good, and then she plays tough defense, bro.
Yes.
Tough. So that's who I want running my point, because I know she can get my other stars the ball as well, and she doesn't need to have 15 or 20 points. She can get 4 points, but she's going to have like 10, 11 assists, and she's going to sit down on D.
That's for sure. No question. No question.
Who's next pick, bro?
You know who my next pick is. One of my favorite point guards that we watched the whole time. Blessed Dillingham was up there for me. And if you didn't take this young lady, I was going to take Blessed. But Maya Yelder.
Oh, yeah.
Maya Yelder,
man, bro.
from Philander.
Bro, you got – how you going to get that ball?
We scoring points, baby. We scoring points, baby. We scoring points. Pick your poison. Who you going to guard?
That's facts. That's facts. Do we go with a 6-man?
We going 5 out, baby.
No, I'm saying, do we pick a 6-man for our team?
Yeah, I got one.
I got one too. And I think she fits my team perfect. From Billard, Sydney John Baptiste.
She's nice.
That's my 6-man. And she fits my mold.
She's nice. She's nice. I have multiple. Man, this is getting really bad. It was so much talent.
Yeah, there was
on the women's side,
and that's let us say this. That's no disrespect to anybody else,
because we leaving 5-6 players out that can get their name called.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Like the young lady, Shukame, that played for the Virgin Islands.
Yes,
Shukame Phillips. That's not my 6-man, but she's great.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's so many hoopers that on the women's side that played in this event. But for my 6-man, I'm going back to Russ, because I feel like I need some more size on the inside. And I'm getting the 6'5" Al Hassan on the inside.
Al Hassan, yeah. You need somebody to size up with Buckhannon. I get it.
Run the floor like a deer, block everything, challenge everything, play her role perfectly for that team.
That's a good pick. That's definitely a good pick. And that's your 6-man?
I got enough scoring. We got to be able to defend, baby. We got to be able to defend.
I got you. Listen, that's our starters with somebody coming off the bench. We could easily go 10 to 15 to 20 deep. There was that many good players.
We could easily go 10 deep apiece. For sure.
Easily. I mean, there were so many good players, and those are just a couple of the players that stuck out. And yes, some of them were all conference picks. Some of them weren't.
Didn't really say Alexis G. She can hoop. It was.
Yeah, I mean, there were a number of good players that, I enjoyed the women's side just as much as I enjoyed the men's side. I deal a lot, from the scouting service, seeing a lot of the young ladies play. So, seeing them play, I was like, oh, yeah. And then seeing the certain styles, because my favorite, you know what? You got to pick a coach, and I get to pick first. I got to take Coach Crawford
first, too.
I'll take Coach Crawford for Fisk.
Okay. Then I'm taking Coach Jackson.
I knew you was going to take Coach Jackson from Russ. And he was my second pick. And watching them play was like chess. You know what I'm saying? Because both of them are very good coaches. Very good coaches. And, I thoroughly enjoyed the game because, Fisk was the 3 seed. They were the 3 seed that made it to the championship. And, they played a really good game and it was a well-coached game because there were times it looked like they were in trouble. But she changed some sets. She changed certain things on defense. And I was like, okay. And, sometimes when we're calling games, we're calling them but we're also fans in the same sentence as well. And I say that because, when they're calling different sets, we're saying, oh, they're about to do this to shut this down. Oh, they're doing this because they need some time to melt the clock down because they're trying to get their starters with some rest, whatever the case may be. And, we're calling that stuff as the game is progressing. And sometimes we want the fans to have that same experience as we're describing the game. So it's a lot more than just saying, oh, this person's a bucket getter. That's obvious. You know what I'm saying? But when you're calling the game, you want even the people to understand in layman terms sometimes to say, hey, this is what the coach is doing. They're running this 1-4 set, or they're running elevator screens, or they're doing this and they're doing that. And you can see, because you may point out, okay, they're weak on defense covering this. That's why they keep going back to this same play.
100%. It was great to watch. I can't be a bigger fan of the product. That was great basketball.
Yeah, definitely.
It was great. Win or lose, it was great basketball. Being played.
Definitely. Now for the men. I get first.
I'll be the visitor. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's enough on the men's side too.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm going to stay. You know what? I'm going to be logical. I'm going to take the player of the year. I'm going to take Jamal Gibson from Suno.
I figured that's where you were going to go. I figured that's where you were going to go. And I ain't mad at you.
I like them, even though, body-wise, he's not my style, but the way he plays, he was just so aggressive.
I mean, he's going to get 20 rebounds.
That's why I got to take him.
Come on, he's going to get 20 rebounds, bro. I'm going to show some love to the champ first.
Okay.
I'm going to show some love to the champ first.
Okay.
And big-time players make big-time plays.
Oh, I know who you're going with.
In big-time games. And I'm taking Mr. Big Time.
I knew you.
I'm taking Derek Woods. I'm taking big fella Derek Woods.
And you know what? And I want to point this out with you taking him. People don't understand. He comes off the bench.
25.
Comes off
25
the bench
in the championship
lights you
game.
up.
Lefty.
Yes. He's a part of the club. He's a part of the club.
Listen, he was so hard to stop in that championship game.
Yes.
When he comes down and you make multiple threes and you try to switch up and put somebody else on him, and then he goes to the post and you pick up 3 fouls in a row trying to guard him in the post.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. I got to give a nod to the champion first. I got other picks, but I had to give a nod to the champion first. I got to give Derek Woods his love.
Okay. So I'm going to move Jamal to the 4 because I got to get my size in first before I get my guards. So with me getting my size in, again, I'm going to shock you on this one. I'm going to shock you on this one because, it's typically not my style, but I like them because he's a stretch. Am I gambling on the boards a little tad? Yes. I'm going to take Armin Williams from Dillard.
I like him. He cool.
Yeah. And I'm taking him because he can give me an inside presence, but he can knock down that 3 and knock down that mid-range. So I'm going to make you work on defense.
Hey, look, man, I need bucket getters. I need scoring. I need, you know what I mean? I'm taking from Tougaloo, Keandre Montgomery.
Oh, yeah. Dang it, I have it.
Keandre Montgomery, if you look at every high major 2 guard, pick your conference.
Right there, yeah.
He looks like every high major 2 guard you've ever seen.
He can play. I like him. He
jumps out of the gym. Shoot the ball, range, the whole 9.
Now, My two guards. You'll agree with me on this one. From the champs, Philander Smith. I'm gonna take Chris Rufus.
Ah, man. Ah, that's who I wanted. But okay. All right. No problem. No problem. That is who I wanted at the point guard, though.
But I'm not gonna put him at the point. I'm gonna put him at the 2. Because you'll get what I'm going. You get where I'm going.
Okay. That would have been my point guard.
Okay. And I'm gonna explain to you why with my next pick.
Now I have to really think about it. Now I have to really think about it. That would have been my point guard. Oh no. No, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going.
Where you going?
Why you say it like that, bro?
Because I know you. Because I know you.
Why you say it like that, man? Why you
I'm
say
listening.
it like that, D?
I'm listening.
No, man. I'm between a couple of players on this one. But I think I'm gonna take Michael Ashley.
Yes.
From Fisk.
Okay.
And
that's no disrespect. That's no disrespect. No, he can play. He's a hooper. I was just going with my style. Okay. Now, the reason why I moved Chris Rufus to the 2, because what did we notice almost every game? You need some ball handlers because everybody had that press coming and it was ugly once they got that trap going. So I'm going to take from Dillard. What's my guy's name from Dillard?
I know who you're talking about. Tom Warren.
Yeah, Justin Warren. And I say that because you know me, like when we watch these games, if you didn't have a certified ball handler, and for me, I wanted the insurance of having 2. So give me Rufus and Warren, and I'm going to sacrifice a little bit on D, but just a little bit because I got some bigs. I got some athletic bigs, but I need, you got to have 2 bona fide ball handlers in the whole GCAC conference because when everybody press, they're scrappy. They will knock you out. And you need that because think how many turnovers we saw where people didn't have, or when their primary point guard went out the game. Some of these teams struggle getting the ball up the court. So I'm taking 2 guards, 2 point guards.
I'm going opposite, D. I'm going bigger.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I'm going bigger. Sean Walker is a goon.
Night, Danny.
From Talladega?
Yeah.
Sean Walker is a goon and a warrior.
No, and again, we're saying it from a perspective of I took it from what I saw this weekend. Like, if we're going off paper and I had never seen these guys, I probably would have made some different choices. But after seeing the style of play in the GCAC, you got to adjust, man.
No, I'm with you. I just got another point guard on the table you ain't thought about. I got one more pick, right?
Well, yeah, because we got a 6-man, right?
I got one more that you ain't thought about. That's all.
Hold on.
I got one that I thought played extremely well, didn't turn the ball over, did what he needed to do for his team.
You know, I can't help this. I want to I want another guard. I want a shooter, actually.
It's one out there.
Oh, I know there's two out there.
One of my favorites is out there.
I want to go with Tony Cargo, but
it's not a bad pick.
You know, the enticement of another big, I just can't pass up.
You looking at my lineup, you seeing all that beef. You seeing Ashley, Woods, and Walker down there. You know you got problems down there.
I gotta have Mike Reeves from Dillard. Just for insurance. Even though I want Tony Cargo, but
Tony Cargo's a great player.
Oh man, I love him.
Could easily be the number one pick or top 5 pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever. Tony Cargo's a great player.
Absolutely.
Long, can shoot it.
Yes.
Athletic, get above the rim. His teammate Tyrese Crawford.
Yes, that's another one.
Like it's a lot of people that ain't getting their name called again.
But let me ask you.
One of my favorite players, Daylord Johnson.
Yes, another
bucket getter.
Yes,
like, it's a lot of people ain't getting their name called right now.
Let me ask you this, and this is just before you make your next pick. We saw everybody play. We saw every team play. On the men's side, just give me a percentage. And I want people that are just listening to us and maybe didn't see the GCAC. I think this will be a good indicator as well. What's the percentage of guys that you saw play could go to a higher level?
Out of the guys that were playing significant minutes.
Yes.
So I'm going to say 12 minutes and above, 15 minutes and above.
Yep.
Probably 70%.
Say that again, man. I was going to say 75%.
I'm going to be honest. Most of them look like they came from a different level. Like Tougaloo's whole team.
That's my point exactly, man. That's my exact point.
I could name 5 players off of Tougaloo's team. I could name 4 players off of Dillard's team. We could name 3 or 4 players off of Fist's team and be like, oh, he could play Peach Belt. He could play at this level. He could play
PSAC. He could play MIA. He could play Conference of the Carolinas. You know what I'm saying? Or this guy could play Big South. This guy could play
Swag.
Yeah, swag. Yeah, exactly.
100%. Like Lamont Sams is coming off the bench at Talladega.
And he got boosted. You know who Lamont Sams reminded me of the kid from Virginia. Was that VCU that got the Springs?
Lamont Sams got stuff that you can't teach. You got some stuff you can't teach, man. And I now, I'm not saying that those kids shouldn't be where they at. I'm just trying to help people understand how good the basketball is.
Yes.
So comparing it to other levels that maybe you have watched, may help you understand. But like, it's so many, like it's hoopers. But my guy that I'm gonna take, my other point guard would be, and I'm staying with Talladega. I'm taking Wilfred Campbell.
I like him. I like that. That was my other pick. I like that. He was my third guard.
Help me get to the chicken, dog. Help me get to the chicken. Nice little float game. Don't got to do too much, especially what I got around him. Hey, ball screen. We're gonna paint. We're gonna Spain pick and roll you to death. I'm putting Derek Woods in the corner.
Okay. Now we got one last thing to call. And I'm glad I get to go first. Got to pick a coach.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. It was tough on the women's side.
Yeah.
On the men's side, this is almost impossible.
Well, and
it's loaded. Coaching on the men's side in this league is loaded.
Well, and it comes down to what do you like? What do you prefer? or are you just a homer as well?
Can I pick a whole staff? Because I feel like I need to, like there were like, come on, man, like Todd Day is coaching in this league, Kenny Anderson coaching in this league. I meant
and
like,
what do we say when we see Todd Day coach? Is he not a student of Nolan Ryan? I mean, not Nolan Ryan, Nolan Richardson.
bro.
That's what it looked. It looked like we turned the clock back 30 years.
When we looked at defensively what Talladega was doing against ball screens, how difficult they are to even try to
blowing up the ball screen, blowing
you up, dog. Like defensively, it was a masterclass.
To me, Talladega was the best defensive team. To me,
I would consistently, I would say so.
Yes.
Coach Price over at Dillard, like, bro,
man, he got those guys rolling like they were the ninth seed. They were the ninth seed, and he got them rolling at the right time.
Coaching in that league is impossible. We can pick a coach, but like I'm gonna leave off somebody that I love. Like that league is.
But I also have another pick as well. The quote that stuck with me the most was Justin Warren's interview.
And that's why I would take Coach Price number one. And culture, man, like it matters. Culture matters.
Like when they had the upset and they interviewed him and they said it was about culture, nobody being late to breakfast. That stuck with me, man. That stuck with me.
There were three teams that, like I said, it was impossible. It's impossible because, like, even Virgin Islands got eliminated early.
But I like them. Listen, they're going to be good, man.
They're going to be good, bro.
Yeah.
If you look at Suno, they're a new program. But look at how he coaches. Like, they're going to be good. Like, so, but there were three teams that, from a culture standpoint, that were just above and beyond, from a culture standpoint. I think Tougaloo, I think everybody knows from a talent standpoint, it's just like it's off the chain, right? But the three teams that stood out to me, now I only got a chance to see Tougaloo one night, but the three teams that stuck out to me from a culture standpoint, where you could just see their identity oozing through like their play and who they were, was Philander.
Oh, yeah.
Philander, bro. Yeah. Like everything that got thrown at them, oh, you're going to try to play physical with us? Cool, we're going to bang you. Mm-hmm. Right? Oh, you want to run? Oh, you want to run? Oh, you want a half court set? What, like, the level of excellence, and it wasn't flash, it was like we hoop it. You know what I mean? Like
Todd Day is a really good coach, bro.
Man, like it shined through, bro. We talk about Dillard. Dillard was one of those guys hit the ground. It's 5 or 6 dudes in a full-blown sprint to go and pick up their teammate.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about identity, though, bro, and I laugh when I saw it, they weren't big, but they were so dangerous because they bought their coach's mentality. Them guards from Fisk, you can tell that's Kenny Anderson 3,000%.
Yes.
They didn't have, they weren't tough from a post perspective, but the wing through point guard was giving you buckets.
Oh, they battled inside?
Good. No. It's not that they didn't battle inside. You can tell that wasn't their strong point. You get what I'm saying. Like, I'm not dogging any of Fisk's big men, but you can tell they excelled from 1 through 3. Like them dudes,
They could hoop.
yeah, they can hoop. They can hoop.
My last identity team was Talladega.
Oh, the
Like,
Ravens.
you don't have to. You only have to watch them 5 or 6 minutes to understand who they are, what they're about. Like, this what it is.
Mm-hmm.
This what you're gonna get with us, and that makes me kind of understand. Like, maybe okay with Lamont Sam's, right? Like, he's a different type of kid from them. Again, no disrespect to anybody. I've only watched them a couple times, right? But like, man, their thumbprint on that game is like, you are not tougher than we are.
Yes.
We are going to force you to play the way we want to play. And like, we're going to almost like demoralize you when we play, right? It's not just like we're going to win the game. We're going to dominate you to a point that you don't want to be here anymore. Right?
What
Like,
did we say during the broadcast about Talladega? If I was a player, I can only imagine what the practice is like at Talladega, bro.
no out of bounds, no time. Like, come on, bro. Like, we know that style of play, where that comes from, bro.
Yep.
Like, you don't. After the game, you're gonna need some ice. You're gonna need a wrap. You're gonna need a massage. Like, you're gonna need, like, you can win or lose. We saw them win a game, a tough physical game against Russ, and we saw them lose a game, right? But when you play them, you're gonna know you was in a basketball game.
But you know what? And I'm glad you just mentioned that. Russ was another team. When you look at them, you say, okay. But them dudes were scrappy and tough.
Hey, they walked right up to the bully.
Yep, and punched the bully
and punched him in the mouth, right?
Yes, they did.
And now we're gonna see what happens, right? And Talladega came out on top, but that was the game.
But that was the game where I always say this: in those type of games, there has to be a loser. But I looked at Russ and was like, tip my cap to you. You did not back down from that style of play at all.
At all. I think they knew coming in
what it was going to be.
Yeah. And it is what it is. And it
got
to the point where the officials is like, hey, now. Like, y'all chill out. Right? But
absolutely.
But that's how it is. When you play Dega, like, this is what it is, bro. Like, and if you don't want that, if you're scared of contact, if you don't want that,
and they smell that blood,
you're gonna lose. They're gonna put it on you if you don't want that.
Yeah, definitely, man. I couldn't agree more, man. But we both said the same thing when we left the next day. Like, not only were we highly impressed with every team, every team that played, because everybody showed something different, whether they were a player away, they had a player that was just outstanding, they had 2 or 3 players, they had a system, or they, the coach's identity stuck with that team. I had a blast. I could say that. I had a blast. And, it just made me go back and say, when I see these kids, whether they be high school or JUCO, man, this is a valuable option right here. Very valuable option. And think about it. Talladega, we talked about that. They made the run to the NAI championship and then had 3 players transferred to D1? This is the stuff people don't understand about quality of basketball, man.
It's high-level basketball. It was high-level coaching. It was a well-run event. It was a lot of fun. The bands are in there. Fitz brought the band out. Everybody had the cheerleaders there. The dance teams were there.
Dance teams. It was, you said it best on the broadcast, the pageantry.
Absolutely.
It was the pageantry of an HBCU game. Don't get me wrong. PWIs have their own style. Like, when we go watch bigger games, sometimes the fans do this, they do that. But an HBCU game has its own experience and pageantry that it's their own stamp and their own brand that, you know, sometimes when you've never seen it, you gotta love it. You be like, oh, this is different. I'm feeling this.
It's unmatched.
Mm-hmm.
It's unmatched. I could fully see a battle of the bands.
Oh,
time at the next one. Like it's the experience is unmatched. The energy in the building was unreal. You know, I can't wait to watch this event grow.
yeah.
Right? If this is what it is today, right? As they continue to secure more partners and sponsors,
They're going to give higher levels some problems.
it's a problem. It's a great event.
Mm-hmm.
Great event. Great event.
And you know, the last thing I like, you know, and this brought back memories, like especially during halftime, where one cheerleaders, like one school's cheerleaders would be on one baseline, the others would be on another side, and then the DJ was playing the music, and then the one cheerleaders would go at the other cheerleaders, and the other ones would come back, you know, and they kind of like, oh, you know, and sometimes they're doing the same moves, but they may add a little flair to it, like this is what we do at Russ, or this is what we do at this school, you know.
Absolutely. Then they all came together and took pictures together after.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
love, man.
Exactly, man.
It was great.
So, you know, man, thank you all for tuning in. You know, we wanted to use our platform. The one thing me and Madre make a big point about, you know, we love D1 basketball just like any other college basketball fan. But we also love D2 basketball. We love D3 basketball. We love NAIA basketball. We love JUCO basketball. And we make it a point for you all to see different things on this platform. We didn't want to be the type of guys that just, as we call, big game hunt and just show you the Kentuckys, show you the Pitts. Shout out to Pitt.
Man, I'm a hoop head, man. I'm a
Yeah,
hoop head.
we're just basketball guys. And being basketball guys, we want to give the D2s their props. We want to give the NAIs their props. We want to give the D3s their props. We want to give the JUCOs their props. And for you people that don't understand, we want to give the JUCOs that are not JUCO D1s, the JUCO D2s, D3s, and independents props as well, because there's good basketball at all these levels. And as the popularity increases, you gotta understand there's very good D2 teams that can beat D1 teams. There's very good D3 teams that can beat D2s, and some of them D3s have beaten D1s this year. So you got to understand that the quality of basketball is not just, oh, it's a D1 or bust. We want to sit here and dispel that rumor. And for you people that don't even understand what level NAI is, a lot of these guys have come from D1 and D2. So understand that as well. Anything you want to say before we wrap this up, man?
No, man, I appreciate well, number one, I think appreciate Marcus and Lisa for giving us the opportunity.
Absolutely.
You know, they never go out about getting their name called, or they do so much for so many people behind.
But they need their flowers, though, man.
They absolutely need their flowers, and appreciate that opportunity. That was a huge opportunity to help do that. HBCU Plus, the GCAC, it was an absolute pleasure. It was a pleasure and an honor to call those games and to be a part of it, to witness it firsthand. So, like I said, God willing, I'll be back. Can't wait.
Yes, indeed. Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this. And, you know, we appreciate y'all for sticking with us for almost 2 hours. You know, we got Dr. Baker rolling, and she was talking about the conference, and we was talking like we was in the barbershop / beauty salon. And, you know, it was a good time to have by all. And, you know, I hope y'all will go research the GCAC, which will now be the HBCU Athletic Association now. So is that
Athletic Conference?
Athletic Conference. I keep saying I'm thinking of UAA. So the Athletic Conference. And please do your research. Please do your research on these teams, how good they are. Do your research on some of these players. And when you go look through the roster, see that where they transferred from, so you understand. Like, some of these guys are coming from D1, D2, and some of them were really good players. They were it's not that they were never good players, but to understand the level of what it is.
I want to shout out to Philander and Tougaloo too, man. They both made the Division II tournament. Tougaloo a 10 seed. Philander, I think, is a 15 seed. So we need to make sure everybody goes out and support them on their way to the dance.
Hold on. Don't forget the ladies. Russ made it as well as Fist. Fist is a 16 seed, so they're going to be a Cinderella, but I'm not calling them no Cinderella with Maya Buchanan on that squad because it's going to take 2-3 people to stop her. And for you people that don't know about Russ, Madre will tell you because his favorite player plays for Russ, and she is a certified bucket getter. Certified.
Facts.
So that'll do it for you for tonight, man. Thank you guys again. We enjoyed doing this. Like you said, God willing, we'll be back next year to do the tournament recap, and maybe we'll be back in October to do the preseason media day for the conference. We'll see how that works. Loved every minute of this. We'll be now that the season is starting to wrap up, you'll probably see us a little bit more. Unfortunately, you couldn't see us as much because we were blessed to have some more broadcasting opportunities, which cut into our podcasting time. But now that it's getting in the AAU season, we'll have a little bit more time to talk with coaches, to do some of the coaches shows, and to do everything that we've done in the past. So thank you guys again. Be expecting to hear from us real soon for our next podcast. God bless.